we see here that in the function f of x, the factors x minus 1 is repeated 3 times, and x plus 3 is repeated 4 times. This is different from the first function we graphed by hand, because in that function, the factors appear only 1 time. So again, in p of x, the factors are repeated multiple times. So how do we graph this? First, we need to find the zeros of p of x. So zeros are x equals 1 and negative 3. And we put these zeros on the x-axis. So on the left we have negative 3, on the right is 1. We notice that the x-axis is divided into 3 intervals. First interval is negative 3 to negative infinity. Second interval between negative 3 and positive 1. And the third interval from 1 to positive infinity. So we want to know how the graph behaves at each of these intervals. So we pick a number in the blue interval. I'm going to pick negative 4, and I'm going to plug in negative 4 into x. So this will become negative 4 minus 1 cubed, negative 4 plus 3 to the 4th. We only want the sign, so this is going to be negative to the 3rd, negative to the 4th. Negative times negative times negative is negative, and negative times negative times negative times negative is positive. Therefore, p of negative 4 is negative. So this tells us that the graph is in the negative territory, so it's starting from below the x-axis, goes up, and touch the x-intercept 3, negative 3. Then we want to know how the graph behaves in the green interval. So I'm going to assign 0. Negative 0 is between negative 3 and 1. So this is going to be 0 minus 1 cubed times 0 plus 3 to the 4th. So we want the sign negative 1 cubed. This is positive to the 4th. And we also know that this is negative times positive. Therefore, p of 0 is negative. So what this tells us that in the green interval, or between negative 3 and 1, the function is going to still be in the negative category, or negative territory. So that means it's going to come back down from negative 3, but it needs to go back up because it has to touch the 1. So it has to go up, okay, touch the 1. And then we want to know what the graph does after 1. Is it going to go back to negative territory, or is it going to go to positive territory? So let's find out. We will choose a number to assign to x in the black interval. So I think I'm going to use 2. So p of 2 is equal to 2 minus 1 cubed times 2 plus 3 to the 4th. So this is going to be 1 cubed times, I don't need the number actually, so I'll just use the sign. So I'm going to have here positive times positive times positive is positive, times positive to the 4th is positive, therefore the whole thing is positive. This tells us that in the black interval, or in the interval 1 to positive infinity, the graph is going to go to the positive territory. So it's going to go up. And because there's no more x-intercept on the right side of 1, it will just keep going up. It'll stay going up like that. And then in here, it'll just keep going down. So we now have a nice shape of the graph. We know how it's going to look like. Notice that at -3, it just touched, the graph just touched -3 and then went back down. But at 1, it crossed the x, it went to the other side of the x-axis. All right, so now let's graph, but we need to find first p of 0. So I'm going to put p of 0 here. P of 0 is equal to 0 minus 1 cubed times 0 plus 3 to the fourth, which is going to be -1 times 3 to the fourth cubed here. And so this is going to be -1 times 81. And this is going to be -81. So the y-intercept is -81. So now let's graph. Let's make a nicer picture. Give it more detail. So this is my x-axis. This is my y-axis. Okay. So I'm just going to count here by ones. Okay, this is -1. I know. +1, 2, 3, 4. -1, -2, -3. Okay. Now, because we have here -81 for the y-intercept, we will count by, okay, I want to count by 40. 40, 80, 120. -40, -80, -120. Okay, so now we're ready to put the points. So x-intercepts first, -3, 1. Y-intercept is -81, so maybe here. Okay. So now we know that it starts here below the x-axis, touch the x equals 3, go back down, touch the y-intercept, and then now go up, and then keep going up. This is how the graph looks like.